Hey guys, so today we're going to be talking about common misconceptions in League of Legends. We're going to be talking about champion picks, what to actually play in order to climb, what to ignore when trying to climb, your mindset inside of ranked games, along with how many games you should actually play inside of a day in order to improve and find the most effective technique for yourself. And again, what is the most effective way to practice? We're going to be taking a look at that as well. And also finally, when you should get coaching. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so the first question is, do I have to play Annie to climb if I'm low elo? The answer is no, you actually don't have to play Annie to climb low elo. You can actually play anything you want. However, we tell people and we recommend people to play Annie because it is a lot harder to try to slow the game down on Yasuo or Zed or Akali than it is to slow it down on someone like Annie. And the reality of the fact is, it doesn't matter what champion you play as long as you can slow the game down and are able to focus on the fundamentals that we talk about. But because most people aren't able to do that, we actually just end up recommending Annie. We can also end up talking about a few picks here that we can pick for every role. In mid lane, we can look at Malphite, Veigar, Lucian, Orianna, and then finally Annie. And again, these are just champions that you can pick in order to slow the game down. In top lane, you have Malphite, Darius, Garen, Sion, and Renekton. Jungle, we want to actually stick to more tank-oriented builds, and the reason we want to stick to tanks is because we want to be able to essentially practice our pathing without any punishment. And so if we just play tanks, we can effectively practice the fundamentals of jungle while simultaneously providing our team the best type of utility. And again, champions inside of the jungle could be Rammus, Nunu, Master Yi, Xin Zhao, which is a highly recommended one, J4, Nocturne, Zac, and finally Amumu. Going down into the ADC role, we have MF, Ashe, and Lucian. Lucian is a bit of an awkward pick considering he does have a lot of animation cancelings you have to do, and he is kind of mechanical. However, if you one-trick Lucian, then it is actually fairly recommended. And finally, as a support player, I do recommend Zyra, Soraka, Blitzcrank, although it would be a little weird, but you can play Blitzcrank, Brand, and finally Galio. And again, if you are low elo, try to stay away from support, play more solo lanes, get better at laning, and then go back to support once you are able to lane at a very decent level. Moving on to the second question, what mindset should I have when I try to climb ranked? Aside from the fact that you should have 1 to 2 champions and focus on the basics and the fundamentals, at this point would be pretty obvious in general advice. The mindset you need to try to have is that although being emotionally invested inside of the game is good because you care, you do want to have a sense of detachment from you and your solo queue rank. And so when you go into solo queue, you're never playing to actually win, you're playing to simply do your job. In the sense where if I'm playing Twisted Fate or something, and I queue up for a rank game, my goal is not to initially win the rank game. My goal is to make sure I hit all the CS, I get proper trades, and I do the fundamentals to a relatively decent degree. And just by that, those are the building blocks that will end up leading you to a victory moving forward into the game. And you want to go into the game, again, with the mindset of either you win or you learn. You never really lose. And so you want to always look to get better and practice the fundamentals. Moving on to the third question, what should I ignore when playing ranked? And again, the biggest issue with League of Legends is that there's a lot of misconceptions about the game, a lot of false ideas around the game, and because the majority of players are lower MMR, what actually ends up happening is they all have their own weird idea of the game, and so when those ideas clash, it just becomes more and more confusion, aka Summoner School. And so what you need to do is you need to ignore everybody around you, ignore your teammates' opinions, ignore your friends' opinions, and only value the opinions of coaches or people who are high elo and actually have experienced a higher level of play, because they will actually begin to tell you what is important versus what is not important. Again, something to avoid is entertainment streamers, although obviously you can watch your favorite streamer for fun. If you are looking to get better, I'm not going to name names, but if you are looking to get better, you do watch streamers that talk about their mistakes, streamers that discuss what went wrong in the game, streamers that actually reply to you if you ask them questions, etc. And again, finally, another thing to ignore when you are playing in low elo is team compositions. Team compositions don't matter. If you have a Malphite, it doesn't mean you just pick Yasuo. The Malphite doesn't know how to press R. You know this. He's bronze, silver, gold. Player OPGGs don't really matter because you're not really going to find that golden streamer or that, player that's going to carry you out of gold over and over again, because well, everyone is lower MMR, that everyone's fundamentals are bad, and so you should not actually look at OPGGs. Don't dodge people and simply just continue to play and focus on the fundamentals. Again, macro doesn't really exist. You see it in a lot of the coaching videos that I have. And a lot of people ask me, why don't you cover post lane phase? Lane phase is the basis of everything. And if your lane is bad, then there's no point in coaching you any further. And so macro doesn't exist. Your goal is, again, in low elo, to come out of lane 5-0 and then just stomp everyone after the lane phase. Okay? Non-cookie cutter builds. Again, don't just build tier because you see Anibot building it. You don't know why he's building it. Understand why people build Leandres. Understand why people build Protobelt, etc. Try to understand it and do not come up with your own theories about the game. And that's another misconception as to what people have, is they begin to try to theory craft. And although theory crafting can be fun and it could actually work sometimes, it is not good for improvement. Just follow what the professionals are, again, building. Going on to the next question, how many games should I play in order to improve in a day? The answer is actually 0. You don't have to play any games, and the reason for this is because, I talk about this in my other videos, especially the one where I talk about how to practice the fundamentals and how to isolate these fundamentals. It is actually more valuable to go into custom games and 1v1s with people for 2 hours than to spam solo queue, because as a low MMR player, you need to refine and solidify the fundamentals, and so doing these drills will allow you to do that. Instead of playing like 20 games in a day, it's not as superior. And then eventually you'll have days as well where you can spam solo queue to climb/improve and really get experience in that kind of competitive atmosphere that is ranked solo queue. And so again, you want to do that, and then on top of that, build a schedule. If you have a schedule and you set aside 2 to 3 hours every single day for conscious, consistent practice, you will find success within a few weeks, within a few months. And then you try to level out your schedule and you try to do it. I do it twice a day, or I would do it twice a day if I was trying to improve. And I would say maybe a 3-hour split would be really good in this case. Finally, moving on to the last question, when do I get a coach? And again, there's a lot of people charging money for coaching, and my personal opinion is that if you're a low MMR player and you're coming to a coach like me who would be talking about a lot more advanced things, I mean, you might as well just throw your money in a fire. At least it'll keep you warm in that case. So what I would recommend you do is you don't pay someone like me for coaching. You watch the videos, and you only get a coach if you, 1, you just don't understand the content at all, right? 2, you just don't know why you're climbing, which would be really weird. And then 3, you are actually already high elo, or you're relatively decent MMR. You are climbing, but you want to bring your gameplay to the next level, and coaching, again, is a type of it's like a type of growth steroid where you would speed up your growth as much as possible at a very short amount of time. And so the work that you would get within a month, you could potentially do it within a few weeks, maybe 2 weeks or so. Anyways, do not get a coach if you have not followed the basic advice, or you haven't at least had around 200 plus games, because then there's just not enough of a there's just not enough quantity of games, and so it's hard to determine if you're actually stuck in that MMR or if you're just not simply playing the game. That is it for the video. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, if you have any questions, concerns, or you want to just simply debate me on anything about the game that I've said in the past, you can always join me in Twitch chat at twitch/zenedu. I do try to stream minimum twice a week. You can always just join the Discord as well, ask questions there, and also get free coaching along with paid coaching. And again, thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.